Good afternoon, Tommy Carpenter, Office of Emergency Management. So today I'm going to provide my annual hurricane update. So typically what I do with that is I'll provide an overview of the previous hurricane seasons, the outlook for this year that begins on June 1st and ends on November 30th. And new to this presentation this year, I'm going to review the authority delegated by Lake County and surrounding counties to use emergency powers during a local state of emergency. All right, so outline pretty much the same past hurricane seasons. I'll review this year. We'll look at how to prepare for hurricane season, and then I'll finish up with the local state of emergency measures. So past hurricane seasons, 2004, 2005, we remember 2004, there were 4 hurricanes within 2 months. 2005 was the first time we hit the Greek alphabet. And then there was a lull for 11 years. And so then in 2016 and 2017, respectively, with Hurricanes Matthew and Irma, Lake County's Emergency Operations Center had to respond by sheltering people, debris management afterwards, and then part of our recovery efforts. 2018, we were not impacted by a tropical system. We were not because Hurricane Michael made landfall near Mexico Beach in the Panhandle, and then in 2019, Hurricane Dorian had minimal impacts to the county. It was a huge storm that we thought was going to come this way, but it didn't. And then as a point of reference, Lake County hasn't had a hurricane since Hurricane Donna in 1960. So we look at what happened in 2004, 2005, 2016, 2017. We haven't had an actual hurricane pass over us. It's just been tropical storm force impacts. So with that, just good terminology to kind of understand, and we get tons of calls about this, it's just sustained wind speed. So a depression is 38 miles per hour or less. A tropical storm is 39 to 73 miles per hour sustained. A hurricane is 74 miles an hour and stronger. And then we see a major hurricane, which is a category 3 or stronger. And so for those are 5 categories, 1 being the weakest, 5 being the strongest. Categories 3, 4, and 5 are considered major hurricanes. And just as a point of reference for Hurricane Donna, when it crossed through Lake County, it was a strong category 2, category 3 hurricane. 2020 definitely was going to be a difficult year. Typically this slide I could do in one slide. This is going to take me 2, but just the point of this is hurricane season begins June 1st and it ends November 30th. For 2020, that was the 6th consecutive year that we actually had tropical weather before the start of hurricane season. And typically what we look at is, and I'll just use the term, you'll hear me say typical a lot, is we look at, it starts June 1st and then we'll see tropical activity. And then as you can see on the slide, you see the tropical storms are in green, hurricanes are in yellow, and major hurricanes are in orange. So June through the beginning of August, we know we're going to see tropical weather, but they're not going to be the strong storms and they typically don't impact us. What we look at is that first week of August through the end of October, that's when we see them pick up and that's when we see them get stronger. And that's pretty typical of what you see on the slide. The first hurricane being July, August, and then after that you see them begin to pick up. First major hurricane in August, and so through September you see that pick up. So then it continues, and then really when you get into September and October, those were the strong months, and that's where we see major hurricanes. We can continue to see tropical storms, hurricanes, but those are the significant months. And that, even though it was a record-setting year, it was fairly typical in what we see in a normal hurricane season. So really that first week of August through the end of October is really when we look at peak hurricane season. So last year's forecast was 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 6 major hurricanes. What we actually saw was 30 named storms, 14 hurricanes, and 6 major hurricanes. So that was a record-setting year. But they all fell within the 6-month period of time of hurricane season. And since Commissioners Shields and Smith are now with the Commission and Mr. Rosen, I wanted to take just a quick update and tell you about Hurricane Irma. In my 29 years in public safety, this has been the most impactful tropical system to impact our county. So I'm going to give you a quick update on that. Believe it or not, that from the National Weather Service, Lake County sustained tropical storm winds between 50 and 65 miles per hour with frequent gusts of 7 to 85 miles per hour across much of the county. And so the eye of that storm was about 45 to 50 miles west of us. One tornado in Umatilla with a track of just over 3.8 miles and a width of 500 yards. Power outage at its highest was 77% of customers. Total damage was over 41 million, and in terms of structures damaged, 3,222 affected structures were 2,320 residential, 92 commercial, 693 residential, 17 commercial, 88 residential in major, 2 commercial, and destroyed structures were just 10 residential. So a lot of structures damaged, but only 10 destroyed, and the ones that were destroyed were in bad shape to begin with, according to the property appraiser. In terms of services provided, the Citizens Information Line, the county's non-emergency call center, answered almost 14,000 calls in 10 days. The county provided 45,000 sandbags to residents. We opened 14 shelters, which is the largest number of shelters that we've opened to date, with over 5,500 people and pets, which broke down to over 4,100 residents, 264 special needs clients, 565 staff and volunteers. That includes the 72 National Guard troops we sheltered, and 588 pets. In terms of host sheltering, once the weather went away, it was dark, and we had about 40 people that mostly lived in coastal counties that couldn't go home. It was not safe to travel. They couldn't contact families, so we sheltered them overnight. The next day, they went to Real Life Christian Church in Claremont, and then after that, we moved them to Lake Yale Baptist Retreat, along with the Red Cross, to do the case management to get them home. Public transportation provided 452 rides before and after Irma. So those folks needed a ride to a shelter. We got there, and we got them back home. The county distributed 65,000 bottles of water to residents. And Commissioner Parks talked earlier about LASER, Lake Support and Emergency Recovery. That's the county's long-term recovery organization. And they also provided services after Irma. 401 total cases all have been completed. 100 homes with long-term recovery needs have been completed. That could be a roof, structural repairs, 7,130 volunteer hours, and they were able to bring $745,000 into the county. So being a nonprofit organization, they have access to funds that the county does not. And so then we're going to look at the upcoming season. This is the 7th consecutive year that we've had some kind of tropical activity before the onset of hurricane season. The names that are listed, we see them every 6 years, so they were last seen in 2015. This year's forecast, when we look at the current forecast, we look at really 2 different entities, Colorado State University and the National Hurricane Center. Colorado State will give you a number. They'll tell you this is what our forecast is. The Hurricane Center gives you a range. So forecasted to be an above normal year. Colorado State forecast 17 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes, where the National Hurricane Center looks at 13 to 20 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes. So when you look at the graphic, 60% chance of an above normal season, 30% near normal, and a 10% below normal. So it's a very much similar forecast that we had to last year. This means climatologically the conditions are similar, but it doesn't mean that we'll have that. I presented this last year, and I wanted to just address it quickly this year. We had very specific challenges last year if we had to open shelters due to COVID. Space requirements, typically in a shelter, we have 20 square feet we provide somebody. Last year, because of social distancing, that got increased to 40 to 60. So when I go over my shelter list in a few slides, we had looked at we would have to open all of our shelters had we needed to. That has since been rolled back. We're looking at the 20 square feet. Personal protective equipment, we have ample for masks, gloves, whatever we need in the shelters. Enhanced cleaning will continue to make sure that all the services are as clean as possible. Medical monitoring before and during while sheltering, and then staffing. Last year was a concern. This year, with everyone being vaccinated, the numbers decreasing, we anticipate being able to bring that back to normal operations. And then preparing for hurricane season. So typically this is something that we do year round, and I know that that message has been drowned out a little bit because of COVID, and so we're trying to get back on and get moving. As of 55 minutes ago, the Sears site closed, so that part's finished. We're going to transition over to the health department, and we're going to move forward with hurricane season. So year-round preparation, where we work with our community, public agencies, non-governmental organizations, and 2, making sure our contracts are in place. So one of the things was an agreement with the school board today for sheltering, and then our debris and our monitoring for post-impact. We have contracts for emergency meals ready to eat, water, things that we have to take care of. So those are all in place and ready to go. Before the hurricane, make a plan. That includes pets, which has always been a huge issue if folks stay home or if they go to a shelter. Make sure you have food, water, vaccination records, medication, and especially an appropriate size crate, because you never know when you're going to have to leave, and if you do, then you need to be able to completely take care of your pet. Determine where you need to go during where you're going to shelter during a hurricane. So that's, again, a message we have year-round. Know where you live. If you live in a safe site-built structure, stay there. Just make sure that the windows are protected, the outside's taken care of. If you live in a manufactured mobile home, this is a great time year-round to find friends, family, loved ones that you can stay with during that period of time. And also, too, we have a lot of folks that are moving to Florida now, and they're building brand new site-built homes, and they're moving into them. And just a message to them is you don't have to come to a shelter. You're in a safe place. Protect your windows, protect the outside, and you're good where you are. You don't have to come to a shelter. Create that disaster supply kit, a gallon of water per person per day, non-perishable food items, a manual can opener. A lot of cans are coming with the pop tops now, but remember to get one of those. Medications, toiletries, anything that you need. And if you're concerned, if folks are concerned about COVID, gloves, hand sanitizer, whatever you need, masks, make sure that you have it. Stay informed with everything that's going on and get involved. And when I say get involved, that could be through a church group or a civic organization, or just pay attention to your neighborhood. If you have friends or family or a neighbor that is elderly, retired, can't actually get out and do things, help that neighbor. And so that if everybody could do that and just kind of pay attention to what's going on around them, that would help greatly. These are our list of shelters. We have a total of 28. We have a primary list and secondary list. So our primary list is ready to go. And so during Irma, we opened 14 shelters. Now we're ready to open 15. The ones that you see in yellow are special needs shelters, which they have generators. So those are special needs clients that have been approved by the health department, and typically they have an electrical dependency. They have, in terms of, they have an oxygen concentrator, or sometimes they have a medical necessity for a CPAP. And so they plug into commercial power. If that goes out, the generator comes on and it provides them electricity. Also to note are the asterisks for those that are our special needs shelters. Excuse me, our special needs, our pet-friendly shelters. And so over half of our shelters are pet-friendly shelters, which I'm very proud of, because I don't know many counties in the state of Florida that can say that they can shelter that many pets. During the hurricane, again, all these questions that we get from the public: know where your safe room is in your home. That's an interior room with no windows. The home environment may be loud and frightening, and stay away from doors, windows, skylights. Open the refrigerator only when necessary, and stay informed to local news and weather. In terms of information sources, we always advocate for everyone to have a NOAA weather radio. They're great at night when you're sleeping. They're loud, obnoxious. They'll get you up, so you can turn on the news, pay attention to why you were alerted. Alert Lake is the county's emergency notification system, so that not only do we provide good public safety information, we always provide good weather information. And when the Citizens Information Line is activated, that number is 352-253-9999. And then after the hurricane, just be careful. Stay informed of the latest information. Stay away from downed, loose, or dangling power lines. Ensure food safety. When in doubt, throw it out. When cleaning up debris, use proper safety equipment and clothing. And take photos of damage to your house, furnishings, and surroundings for insurance. And we've discovered that when our power goes out and our traffic lights don't work, that we need to remind folks that please treat it as a four-way stop. And so that's some messaging that we try to get out, and good information to get out before. And also just to remind everyone to contact family, friends, and neighbors as soon as possible. So this concludes my hurricane portion of my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions before I move to the next part.